All right, let's jump right into one of the most powerful, most challenging teachings ever delivered, the Sermon on the Mount. This is way more than just a list of rules. It's a radical call that completely flips our understanding of what it means to live a righteous life.
So let's start with a big question, one that really gets to the heart of this whole thing. What if being truly good, truly righteous, has nothing to do with just checking off boxes and following a list of rules perfectly? What if, instead, it's all about something deeper, a radical, fundamental transformation of who we are on the inside, our motives, our desires, our very heart? Well, that's exactly what the sermon is all about. Okay, so let's set the scene. Matthew chapter 5 tells us that Jesus saw the huge crowds, and he went up on a mountain. When he sat down, his disciples gathered around him, and he just started to teach them. You gotta picture this. It's not some big public spectacle. It's an intimate, focused teaching for the people who are serious about following him.
And how does he start? Not with a bunch of do this, don't do that. Nope, he starts with what we now call the Beatitudes. And these aren't commands, they're descriptions. They paint a picture of the kind of person, the kind of heart that thrives in God's kingdom. The very first one right out of the gate in Matthew 5, verse 3, is this: "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." So, what in the world does it mean to be poor in spirit? Being poor in spirit has nothing to do with your bank account. It's a spiritual posture. It's getting to a place where you recognize deep down that you are completely dependent on God for everything. It's trading self-reliance for a humble trust in Him. Then, just a couple verses later, in Matthew 5, verse 5, he says this: "Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth." Now, meek is a word we totally misunderstand today. We think it means weak or timid, but that's not it at all. Think about it like this. Meekness is power that's under control. Imagine a powerful stallion that has been tamed. It hasn't lost any of its strength, right? It's just submitted that strength to its rider. That's meekness. It's choosing to trust God to handle things instead of using your own power to force your way. So, after describing this inner character of his followers, Jesus completely shifts gears. He moves from who they are to what they're supposed to do. What's their purpose in the world? In Matthew 5, verses 13 and 14, he lays out these two amazing metaphors. He looks at his followers and says, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world." Now think about that. Both salt and light are useless if they don't have an effect on their surroundings. They're meant to change things. Let's break that down. To be salt means you're a preserving agent in a world that's decaying. You bring goodness and wisdom, flavor, wherever you go. And to be light, well, that means your life, your actions should shine. They should be so obviously good that they illuminate the truth and point people back to God. And this brings us to the absolute core of the sermon. This is where it gets really intense. Jesus takes what everyone thought they knew about God's law and turns it on its head. He keeps using this formula, "You have heard that it was said, but I say to you." He's basically saying, you've been focused on the external action, but I'm telling you, it all starts in the heart. Okay, first example, you shall not murder. Seems simple enough, right? But Jesus traces that act all the way back to its source. In Matthew 5, verse 22, he says that if you are harboring anger against someone, you're already on that same path. See, in God's kingdom, that simmering anger, that hatred in your heart, it's judged just as seriously as the final act. And then he gives this incredibly practical picture. He says, imagine you're at the temple, about to make a sacrifice. You're in the middle of a religious moment, and suddenly you remember that someone has an issue with you. Jesus says, stop, leave your gift right there. Go find that person, make it right, and then come back and worship. Relationships with people are more important than religious rituals. He does the exact same thing with adultery. The old law forbade the physical act. But in Matthew 5:28, Jesus pushes it deeper. He says, if you even look at someone with lust, if you entertain that desire in your mind, you've already crossed the line in your heart. Again, he's shifting the focus from the action to the desire that fuels it. To show just how serious this is, Jesus uses this shocking language. He says in Matthew 5:29, if your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out. Now, he's not telling people to literally maim themselves. This is hyperbole. It's a way of saying you need to be absolutely ruthless in getting rid of anything in your life that leads you into temptation. Whatever it is, cut it out.
So all of this, the anger, the lust, the internal righteousness, it's all building to a climax, is building to what is, without a doubt, the most difficult and world-altering command in the entire sermon. So what is it? What's the one command that just shatters all our normal human instincts and shows what this higher righteousness is really all about? Here it is from Matthew chapter 5. But I say to you, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you. Just let that sink in. This isn't just don't hate your enemies. It's an active command to love them, to actively want what's best for them, and to pray for them. And notice the reason, so that you may be sons of your Father. So why? Why this impossible standard? Verse 45 explains it perfectly. We do it to imitate God himself, because he doesn't play favorites. He makes his sun rise on the evil and the good, and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. His love and his blessings are for everyone. Loving our enemies is just us trying to act like our Father. And all of this culminates in one final, staggering command in Matthew 5:48. Therefore, you are to be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. Wow. I mean, that sounds completely impossible, right? But to get it, we have to understand what that word perfect really means here. Here's the key. Perfect in this context doesn't mean being flawless or never making a mistake. The original word points to something more like being mature, whole, or complete. It's a call to integrity. It means your inner self, your heart, your thoughts, your desires, is completely in sync with your outer self, your actions and words. It's about being whole, just like God is. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This sermon isn't just some ancient text, it's a living challenge to every single one of us. So here's the question to ask yourself. What is one area in your life where you can stop focusing on just following the rules and start living from a genuinely transformed heart?